Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Wells Fargo One Key credit card. So I'll be going over the main features of this card, its pros as well as its drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a much better idea of whether or not this credit card is a good fit for you. But before we go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. Okay, so diving right into the main features of the Wells Fargo One Key credit card. First off, we're going to be discussing cash back and how you can earn it with this card. This is actually going to be known as One Key Cash. So you will be receiving up to 9% in One Key Cash on purchases at Expedia and Hotels.com. You'll be earning 5% back on VRBO. Then you'll be earning 3% cash back at gas stations, grocery stores, restaurants, as well as food delivery. And then on all other transactions, you will be earning 1% in One Key Cash. Then on top of that, with this card, there's also going to be a spend bonus as well. So as long as you're able to spend at least $1,000 within the first 3 months of having this card, you are going to receive a spend bonus of $400 in One Key Cash. Now, as far as how you can redeem this One Key Cash, you will obviously have a few different options. So you can redeem it for bookings at Expedia, Hotels.com, as well as VRBO. Now with this card, there are also some other benefits as well you'll definitely need to keep in mind. So just starting out, you are going to be receiving automatic silver status tier, which allows you savings of 15% or more on over 10,000 hotels worldwide. And then after that, you can actually unlock gold status when you spend at least $15,000 per calendar year. Then with this card, you're also going to be receiving cell phone protection as well. So with this, you get up to $1,000 in protection against damage or theft. It is going to be subject to a $25 deductible though. Then on top of that, you're also going to be receiving access to trip cancellation and interruption protection. So with this, you can get reimbursed for up to $5,000 for common carrier tickets if your trip is canceled for a covered reason. Furthermore, you're also going to be receiving auto rental collision damage waiver. So with this, you can receive reimbursement for up to $50,000 of covered damage to theft or damage of your eligible rental vehicle if that happens. And then finally, you're also going to be receiving travel accident insurance as well. So the protection is going to be up to $1 million when you purchase your airline or other common carrier ticket with this credit card. So now that we went over the main features of this card at this point in time, we're going to go ahead and dive into the APR and fees. And of course, that's also super important to know about as well. So starting out, your purchase APR is either going to be 20.24, 25.24, or 29.99% based on your credit worthiness. Then as far as balance transfers go, it's going to be exactly the same as your purchase interest rate. So with that said, it's either going to be 20.24, 25.24, or 29.99% based on your credit worthiness. Now, obviously, starting out, it's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense to do a balance transfer of this card because they're not offering you any type of promotional APR like they are with some of the other credit cards out there in the market, where they might start you out with a 0% interest rate on balance transfers and possibly even purchases for, say, like the first 12 to 18 months, where at that point it might make sense to transfer a balance for one card where you're currently paying a lot of interest on a month-to-month basis over to that card where you would have a 0% interest rate. But it really wouldn't make too much sense, at least starting out with this card. Now, perhaps later down the line, they might offer you a promotional offer of 0%, which at that point in time, it could make it worthwhile. But of course, there are going to be some fees associated with the balance transfer, which we are going to cover in just a moment. Then as far as cash advances go, on this channel, we usually recommend to stay far away from cash advances. This, of course, should not be considered financial advice, just my own personal reasons. Usually with them, you have a very high interest rate, plus you have to pay a lot of fees as well. But if you do decide to take out a cash advance with this card, just know that your APR on them is going to be a whopping 29.99%, plus a lot of fees like I just mentioned as well, which we're going to go ahead and dive into right now. So as far as the fees go on your cash advances, starting out, your fees are going to be either $10 or 5% of the amount of each cash advance, whichever happens to be greater. So in the case you have a cash advance of $100, in that case the $10 is going to be greater than the 5%. Then as far as balance transfers go, even though like I mentioned just a moment ago, it's probably not going to make much sense to do a balance transfer, at least starting out, because you're not offered like a 0% rate, like a promotional offer. If later down the line they do offer you something like 0% for 18 months and you decide to take advantage of that and you transfer a balance from another card over to this card to take advantage of the 0% interest rate, then at that point, you're still going to have fees. So it's not going to be completely free. The fee on each balance transfer is either going to be $5 or 5% of the amount of each balance transfer. So in the case it's like a $1,000 transfer, in that case your fee is going to be $50. Then on top of that, there's also going to be some other fees. So as far as late payments go, there's going to be a fee on each late payment. That fee is going to be up to $40. Thankfully though, with this card, there are no foreign transaction fees. So if you decide to travel abroad, this is a credit card you can definitely take with you and use, and you will not be charged anything extra for using this card. So that's a pretty good benefit there. And then as far as annual fees go, with this credit card, there are no annual fees. So it's definitely a credit card you can continue using and renewing on a year-to-year basis. You don't have to worry about closing it because you're getting hit with some type of annual fee. You don't have to sit around and consider, like, is this credit card worth paying like $95 for? Am I getting enough benefits back in return for paying an annual fee? Because once again, with this credit card, there are no annual fees. So now that we went over the main features of this credit card as well as the APR and fees, at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and dive into what I would consider to be the best things about this credit card and the worst things about this credit card. So we're going to start out with the best thing. Starting out, of course, is the fact that you can get $400 in one key cash as long as you spend at least $1,000 within the first 3 months, which for most people is probably not going to be all that difficult to do. So the $400 in one key cash can be redeemed at VRBO, Expedia, as well as hotels.com. Then on top of that, you're also going to be receiving automatic silver tiers. That's a pretty good benefit as well. You can also get up to 9% in one key cash on Expedia and hotels.com, 5% back at VRBO, then 3% back at gas stations, grocery stores, restaurant, and takeout. On top of that, you're also not going to have any annual fees, and you're also not going to have any foreign transaction fees. So those are the good things about this credit card. Now, as far as the drawbacks go, the first drawback is the fact that, yes, you are kind of backed into the corner. The only way you can earn this cash back, the one key cash, you can't redeem it to like your checking or savings account. You can't redeem it on Amazon. The only place you can redeem this is at Expedia, hotels.com, or VRBO. So if you don't use that, then obviously this credit card is not going to make much sense for you. Then on top of that, you're also only going to be earning 1% in one key cash back on transactions outside of hotels, Expedia, VRBO, gas stations, grocery stores, restaurants, and food delivery. So in those cases, you probably want to use another card, one where you're earning at least 1.5% to 2% cash back in those categories. And then also you're not receiving any type of introductory APR on your purchases or balance transfers. So right now there are other credit cards out there that are currently offering a 0% interest rate on purchases and balance transfers for the first, let's say like 12 to 18 months. With this card, you're not being offered that. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, but it is one of the drawbacks to this card. But just to sum things up here, all in all, for the first year alone, if you use hotels.com, Expedia, VRBO, you're going to be getting a lot of bang for your buck here, especially with the $400 in one key cash you can use towards that, plus the up to 9% and 5% cash back that you'll be earning in those categories. So you can definitely earn a lot of one key cash If you use Hotels.com, Expedia, and VRBO, for the first year alone, you're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck there. And then as far as the second year moving forward, it's really going to come down to how often you use those sites. And also, I would probably recommend not using this credit card in those categories where you're only going to be earning 1% and 1 key cash back. But that's all we have for today's review. I certainly hope you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.